and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4-lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton uses the latest technology for positive patient outcomes with a new state-of-the-art CT machine next to our ER. CEO Paul Scarron asking you to find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
When it comes to fire and water restoration, ServPro of Piatt DeWitt counties is the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. Find out all the services they provide by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
The Miller Media Group in Taylorville and Clinton are acquiring 2 customer service specialists to service existing on-air accounts, prospect and acquire new accounts to benefit local businesses with our on-air, online, and digital products. It's 2022 and the Miller Media Group has expanded into working for local businesses through our new digital division. Prospective candidates should have a degree in advertising, marketing, or public relations. A $2,000 sign-on bonus is offered for each of the 2 positions. Send your resume and references to WHOW@randyradio.com. That's WHOW@randyradio.com. The Miller Media Group's an equal opportunity employer.
ServPro of Piatt DeWitt counties is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WHOW Clinton Maroon Player of the Game, announced at the end of every Maroon sports broadcast. Our WHOW announcing staff will select that night's WHOW ServPro of Piatt DeWitt counties Clinton Maroon Player of the Game, whose play will be highlighted in each WHOW Maroon postgame broadcast, and that player receives a certificate. Remember ServPro of Piatt DeWitt counties, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. Find out their services by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
At Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, we want you to be a part of the program as well via the Archer's Alley Catch of the Week. Each week, we'll select one of your pictures submitted at CentralIllinoisOutdoors.com and invite you to tell your story of the great outdoors. We're looking for your kid's first catch or even your first big buck. There's a simple, easy form you can fill out on your phone or computer at CentralIllinoisOutdoors.com. Send us your story, send us your pic. CentralIllinoisOutdoors.com and the Catch of the Week, brought to you by Archer's Alley, North 22nd Street in Decatur.
Hear Clinton Maroon live play-by-play this season on WHOW, the Big 1520 Daytime, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus, streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app and Amazon Alexa. Plus, tune in for a Best of Clinton Sports broadcast every Saturday morning at 10. All brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick, Clinton Athletic Boosters, Clinton Community YMCA, and Mid-State Eye.
You're listening to The Morning Show on the Big 1520 across Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. In this segment of the morning show, we're joined by Candace Summers, who is with the McLean County Museum of History. Candace, a good, happy, is it first day of summer? Like, is that Tuesday after Memorial Day? Is that considered the first day of summer?
I think it's the first unofficial day of summer, because if you go by the calendar, that's later in June.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I ask is because my 6-year-old, we're sitting eating breakfast the other morning, and she says, Daddy, Tuesday is the first day of summer. And I said, really? So I had to go look at the calendar to make sure, because like sometimes she'll say stuff like that, and I'm like, maybe she's right. So I had to go double check. But no, kids are out of school, and it's that time of the year for sure. The weather is nice and all those things. But Candace, you've got a big event coming up this weekend. Tell us what's going on. It's a Friday, Saturday affair. What's happening?
Yeah, so this is the 5th annual Cogs and Corsets, a Central Illinois steampunk happening festival. Kicks off Friday night at 4 o'clock and runs through Saturday at 4 p.m. And it's a big thing downtown where, people, if you're into steampunk and dress up and go the whole 9 yards, but if you're not and just kind of like, what the heck is this? There's something for everybody, because it's an interesting mix of science fiction and history that really appeals to a really wide audience.
Yeah. What is steampunk? Can you kind of describe it for us, I guess?
I can. I have learned myself over the years, because I knew nothing about steampunk when this festival started in 2017, and a local group of community organizers approached the museum and said, hey, your building would be the perfect backdrop to our event. And so the best way to describe steampunk is it's a retro futuristic genre of science fiction that imagines an alternative history of the Victorian era and the Gilded Age. So if you want to think about science fiction authors like H.G. Wells, Mary Shelley, Jules Verne, and you kind of have those pictures of their science fiction history in your mind, that very much to me like gives you a nice image of what steampunk is.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because, or if you ever saw the movie with Will Smith, The Wild Wild West, with all that kind of steam powered history, trains, that kind of stuff, that right there is very much steampunk.
Okay.
And so it's open to anybody, young and old. I see just as many little kids that are involved in this, all the way up to, 65 and older. And it's a fun way to learn some history, have some fun with some science fiction, and, of course, dress up in costume. It's very much a cosplay. There's whole conventions devoted to steampunk all throughout the nation. But ours is really kind of like a steampunk 101, where we want the average person who may not be like, what is steampunk? What's this all about? To come and have some fun too. Because like I said, there's very much a history component to this. And that's a nice way that the museum can fit in, because we help, bring that aspect out as well. So people can learn about the history that inspires the kind of science fiction, steampunk aspect to it.
So in my mind, Candace, I'm kind of picturing like a Renaissance fair, but obviously steampunk themed. Is that a fair like picture, I guess, that I'm portraying in my head?
You're on the right track. Yes. It's definitely like those kinds of activities. So there's costume contests. There's a maker's fair where people will make things or functioning machines that are steampunk inspired. There's also like years past, we had a facial hair contest. Who can grow the best Victorian inspired beard or mustache? Some of the like lectures and workshops we have, of course, we have like costume workshops, how you can kind of do thrift store finds to build your costume, because people like really go all out to create their costumes using like found materials and, really like punking them up. I've seen some amazing costumes made out of like the most random, mundane things you find in your household. And I was like, really? Like, you remember those little Fisher Price toy cars, we all played with when we were like 5 years old that you'd run around in? Well, somebody like 2 years ago steampunked that car, and their little grandson was like pedaling around in this little steampunk Fisher Price car. And it was pretty awesome.
Cool.
Like, that kid was really lucky to have that cool car. But in any case, we have one particular event that we have, which is sold out. Sad for those who might be interested, but awesome for us, is we do a cemetery picnic, because picnicking in cemeteries was really popular in the Victorian era for many reasons. One, obviously, to visit your dearly departed loved ones, and two, because there weren't a lot of parks back then. And in the Victorian era, cemeteries really became more park-like, inviting, benches put around. It was green space to get out of the city, because cemeteries were outside of the city limits. And so that was a great way that you could go and get away from the pollution and the crime and things like that, but also to visit your loved ones. So we're actually doing a picnic in the cemetery, complete with a tour of the cemetery by yours truly. This is the second time we've done it, and it's a lot of fun. People really get a big kick out of it. And we have lots of lectures. Almost all the activities are for free. So you can come down, enjoy the museum, enjoy the Cogs and Corsets Festival, learn a little bit of history, have some fun with science fiction. There's something for everybody.
Sure. Candace, again, just give us the details on the when and where and how folks can get more information.
Yeah. So events kick off at 4:00 on Friday, June 3rd. And many of the activities will be hosted inside the museum, including a steampunk market. We'll have activities outside the building, on our lawn, and on the street. We have a tea room and eating galleries just 2 blocks north of us. And then the activities continue on Saturday. Again, more inside the museum, outside the museum square until 4 o'clock on Saturday. And most of the activities are for free. We have a tea room which has tickets for $10 and that's unlimited tea and biscuits the whole run of the event. Lots of fun activities. And you can go to the website cogsandcorsetsil.com for a complete schedule and all the details.
Very good. Again, Candace Summers with the McLean County Museum of History, our guest on the phone here for this morning. Candace, what else is coming up in the month of June and even the summer? What do you have for us?
So the month of June is Pride Month, which celebrates LGBTQ history. And I think this is the third year. Yeah, because we didn't do it for 2020. And we kicked it off in 2019, where the museum is hosting a pride flag display in our rotunda for the entire month. And so as part of that pride flag display, it has the different flags that represent all of the individuals who are LGBTQAI plus and what each flag stands for. So you can come and see a beautiful display while you're at the museum and also learn a little bit more about the LGBTQ community with what each flag stands for. And it's a great way to highlight our local LGBTQ history, as it's rich and it's deep, and members of the community have been so wonderful to share that history with us as the museum continues to collect more history of our local community.
So check that out in the month of June as well. Candace, what else do you have for us today?
We also have a partnership. We partner with Bloomington Public Library on a lot of programs throughout the year. And this year, they're actually going to be hosting some pop-up story times at the museum. Because if you haven't heard, Bloomington Public Library is just kicking off a huge renovation and expansion program. And because of it, they've had to shut down some of their spaces. So the museum is very happy to open our space to welcome patrons in of the library, some of whom probably come to the museum already, but as a great way to get new people in the museum. So we'll be doing some story times every Tuesday in June for music, movement, stories, and fun. And it's for kiddos from birth to 11 years and their caregivers. It is limited to 20 people, and registration is required, which you can do that right through the library's website or by calling the museum. And I always love hosting story times here in the museum. It's a lot of fun. Our courtroom makes a great space to have that, with plenty of room for kiddos to move around. And it's also air conditioned, which is nice this time of year to get out of the heat from outside. But it's really a lot of fun, and we truly value the partnership we have with Bloomington Public Library and the variety of programs that we do with them throughout the year.
Very good. What kind of stories do you highlight? Like, are these local stories? Is it pretty common stories that, like, a lot of people know? What kind of stories are highlighted, Candace?
Well, from my experience in the past, it's, a lot of kiddo-friendly stories. Since these will incorporate music and movement into the stories, I don't believe they're going to have a whole lot of local connection. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of local history little kid books. I mean, it's something that I've always I need to find an author to make like a local history book. We have so many people in our local history that would be great candidates to write like kids books about, but it hasn't happened yet. Maybe sometime in my career here, it'll happen, because I still got a long time here at the museum. But I'm not exactly sure what the stories are, but I know they always make really good choices that apply to a variety of audiences.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, Candace, you need to take a sabbatical and work on that. That would be a great project for you. But I think the point
they want to give me a sabbatical, because that means I'm not here working in the building.
Well, and I think, isn't the point of a sabbatical to kind of rest and restore yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically, while maybe doing a little work here and there. Like, isn't that the point of a sabbatical? So maybe that isn't a sabbatical project, I guess. I don't know.
There's lots of sabbatical projects I have ideas for over the years. Oh my gosh. So much research I've wanted to do, like really take deep dives, just not enough time or me to go around to do it all.
Yeah, that's the problem a lot of us face, in fact,
Yes.
Candace. So we can all relate, I think. But no, anything else on story time, Candace? I look at the clock. We are coming up on a break. Did I miss anything in there you want to make sure we know?
No, they are every Tuesday at the museum. They start at 10 a.m. and you can go to Bloomington Public Library's website or call the library to register for those programs.
Very good. Candace, just in general, where do folks go to learn more about the McLean County Museum of History and all the events you have coming up?
You can go to our website, mchistory.org, or our Facebook page to learn about all the museum activities and events we have coming up.
Candace Summers with the McLean County Museum of History, my guest on the phone here this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Tuesday. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network. Corn lower, beans slightly higher, wheat double-digit lower. July corn 7.72 down 5 1/4. September corn down 6 1/4, 7.38 1/2. December corn 7.24 1/4 down 5 3/4. July beans starting the day 17.33 up 3/4. August beans up 1 3/4, 16.64 3/4. November new crop 15.49 1/4 up 5 1/4. July wheat starting the day 11.28 1/2 down 29. September wheat down 29 1/4, 11.37. December wheat 11.43 1/2. That's down 30. July bean meal for 33.20 up 90 cents, and July bean oil 79.86 up 29 cents. Look at the opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade for this Tuesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Having a hard time finding the correct new car, truck, SUV, or crossover to fit your needs? This is Scott Baum from Bob Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Some lots look low on inventory, so go to our website, look at our pre-order and reserve tab. You'll see inventory in transit, which are built and on their way to Clinton, and in production, new Chevys and Buicks, which are being built and will arrive soon. Or you can always call our sales team. They can help you find the correct one just for you. BombChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
Here's a supply chain update from your Clinton Save-A-Lot. Owner Dave Jackson here to let you know that despite our best efforts, many times we're seeing specific items simply disappear off of our store shelves. Our suppliers are halting production of slower items to concentrate on the higher volume products. Keeping our shelves appearing full is becoming more difficult, but you have my personal guarantee we are pulling out all of the stops to keep the freshest meat and produce and the items you buy every day stocked and on our shelves. Your Clinton Save-A-Lot appreciates your business, and we hope to see you soon.
This is The Morning Show on 92.3 FM in DeWitt County, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Candace Summers with the McLean County Museum of History joins me here this morning. Candace, we were talking in the break, and I always forget that, people hear the cemetery walk and they think, they think Halloween, they think October, they think fall. And yet here we are in late May, and we're going to talk cemetery walk. What do you have for us today?
Our cemetery walk is definitely a year-round planning process. It takes an entire year and then some to, make sure we have the characters selected, the scripts are written, and we're ready to go for the event in October. And so we have already selected this year's cast of individuals that we will be featuring this year. The dates for the walk are September 24th and 25th and October 1st and 2nd. Those are the general public tours with tours at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. each day. And then, of course, we have 4 solid days of school tours for the 4 days in between the walk that have 3 tours each day. And so we serve, well over 1,000 kiddos during those school tours. But this year, and I say it every year, we have a really great diverse group of people who have some pretty interesting stories to share. This year, our visiting voice is an individual buried at another McLean County cemetery, is Paul Bike. Now, for those people who lived in the area a long time, they probably remember Bike Candy. And I am so jealous of everyone that got to have Bike Candy because it sounded amazing. And from the pictures I've seen, it looks pretty amazing. And Paul Bike was a German immigrant who got into the candy making business not long after he arrived in Bloomington, and eventually came to own his own candy making company, Bike's Candy Company, on Bloomington's west side. And the best candy there is that they made was the Whiz Bar, which was a marshmallow coated peanut chocolate covered cluster that in the 1930s you could buy it for a nickel.
Oh, wow.
And it was like the size of like a small dinner plate. I mean, it's huge. And so Bike is going to share his story about how he got into candy making business. James Preston Butler, kind of a jack of all trades, but what he's best well known for was being a detective and hunting high profile murder cases across the country, including tracking down a man named Patsy Devine, who was hung for the crime of murder in Clinton, Illinois.
No way.
Yes way. Absolutely. And if you come to the walk, you can learn more about that story of hunting Patsy Devine.
You just put, at least myself, hopefully some of the audience, like on the edge of their seats. Like I am ready in anticipation for this.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, we only tell part of the story with their monologues because we only get like 6.5 minutes, but we write full biographies on each of these individuals. So you'll get some of the story at the performance, but then more of the story in his biography. But yes.
Oh my gosh.
They had a change of venue. They changed the venue to DeWitt County because they felt he couldn't get a fair trial here in McLean County. And that's why he was hung in DeWitt County.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay. now I want to I'm going to infiltrate Google with all sorts of searches. What was this gal's name? Did you say Patsy Cline?
No. The man he tracked down was Patsy Devine.
Yeah.
Divine. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Patsy Devine.
It was a pretty well-known case, in the late, I think 1890s, I believe.
Oh my.
Something like that. I can't remember the exact year.
Whoa.
But in any case, he is definitely, I think, going to be one of the most exciting ones.
Oh my gosh.
Who doesn't like a good true crime story?
Yeah,
anyway, right?
yeah, and those are so popular right now. So well done. Yeah, my Google searches are about to be off the charts. So
just blowing up the internet.
Yeah. Oh man. So what are there any other folks you're highlighting as a part of this year's cemetery walk, Candace?
Absolutely. We always have 6 performances. We're bringing back David and Sarah Davis. We featured David and Sarah several times on the walk individually, but never together. And we have a host of their letters to and from each other, which a big portion of their married life was spent apart because David was a traveling lawyer. And then, of course, when he went off to the Supreme Court and later the U.S. Senate. So you can really see how much they loved each other and missed each other from those letters. And so those letters are going to inspire their performance at this year's walk. Another new character we have is Alexander Eriksson, who was a Swedish immigrant who started working in Bloomington's coal mines on the west side, but then later grew up to be an alderman, a one-time mayor, and then a commissioner of public health and safety during the great flu pandemic of 1918 and 1919, and then wrapping out his political career serving on the District 87 school board. So he has a really interesting story that talks about how he tried to literally clean up the streets of Bloomington because trash was a huge problem during his time in office, for part of his story.
Wow.
We have Helen Clark McCurdy, who we found out through this process actually ran against Erickson in the same election of 1915 when he was elected Commissioner of Public Health and Safety. She was the first woman to run for Bloomington elected commission office. Sadly did not win.
Yeah.
But truly, the fact that she made it through the primary and onto the final ballot, that they narrowed down from 8 people to 4, was really a testament to her and what she, campaigned upon.
Sure.
So she's going to share her story. And finally,
Yeah, Candace,
Ellie
I don't mean to do this to you. I have to let you go. I wish we could talk for a few
no
more
problem.
minutes. Candace Summers, McLean County Museum of History, my guest on the phone. Network News is now.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, 92.3 FM, W222 BG Clinton, 106.5 FM, W293 DJ Normal Bloomington.
Thomason. It was a week ago today, the deadly mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas. And today, a bipartisan group of senators expected to resume talks focusing on gun legislation and other steps that it's hoped would make such attacks less likely in the future. President Biden huddles with Fed Chairman Jerome Powell today at the White House. Those talks expected to focus primarily on inflation, which is running well above